Today, we're going to be installing an electric cooktop with a total power output of 3,000 watts. That is 2 burners, one burner of 1,000 watts and a second burner of 2,000 watts for a total of 3,000 watts. So in addition to the practical installation phase, we will also provide instructions on how to set up the power supply for this cooktop. Essentially, a dedicated electrical line is required with cables of 2.5 millimeters in cross-section, capable of handling loads greater than 3,000 watts, and a C16 differential circuit breaker that can support up to 3,680 watts. It is important not to use a circuit breaker with a higher amperage, for example a C20, which would support up to 4,600 watts, because in the event of an overload on the cooktop, it would not trip, exposing the system to risks in case of faults or power draws exceeding 3,000 watts. On the cooktop, we can immediately see that there is a Schuko plug, which is obviously necessary for the maximum load of 3,000 watts. Now, to determine the cut, we transfer to the countertop the free space underneath. We do this by marking the inner line of the cabinet wall, placing the 1 meter stick against it, and marking the upper limit with a pencil. We are going to perform this exact same procedure on both the left and right sides. Once that is complete, the next step involves carefully transferring that very same measurement over to the corresponding section on the back part of the piece. First, we are going to take a piece of masking tape and carefully use it to outline the actual empty space that is available under the countertop. Once that is marked out, we can accurately determine the exact center point of the area. We have a total measurement of 46.5 millimeters for the width, which means that when we divide that in half, we will have exactly 23.2 millimeters for our center mark. And then for the total depth of the space, which is 60 millimeters, we calculate that we have 30 millimeters to work with for the midpoint. Sticking to the measurements we saw for the cutout, which are 27 centimeters wide and 49 centimeters deep, we outline the edges, the perimeter of the cut. Starting from the center, 27, the half of 27 centimeters, which is 13.5. We take the distance from the wall, 13. Now we begin by carefully outlining the first side of our project. Then we repeat this exact same process on the other side to complete the shape. "27 centimeters. And 27 centimeters. Given that we have a countertop of 60 centimeters, subtracting the 49 leaves us with 11 centimeters, which we will divide between the front and the back. Specifically, we will leave 6 centimeters at the front and 5 centimeters at the back. Let's put on the tape. Now that we have outlined the perimeter of the cut and we know that this part needs to be removed, we drill holes in the corners large enough to allow the jigsaw blade to pass through. Then, we cut the countertop along the entire marked perimeter and remove it. At this point, although there is already a gasket on the underside of the countertop to prevent water infiltration, we apply a layer of silicone along the entire perimeter to ensure greater waterproofing. We carefully position the countertop into the cutout, ensuring it fits firmly and snugly downwards. And then we use sturdy clamps to tighten it to the top, to keep it securely and safely in place. Now all that's left is to plug it in and turn on the burners for a few minutes, both to test them and to eliminate any manufacturing residues with the heat.